Before we get on to that and what happened in the race, let's just look at my fastest lap in qualifying. I don't know what it is with this track. They say that every racer's got a bogey track, and I've got a feeling this one may be mine. I was so far off the pace. I don't know what was going wrong. It's a track that I really struggled to get a rhythm with, and although I started to get below 2 minutes. I mean, the really fast guys are doing 1:49, so I'm way off the pace, and it's a bit concerning really, because I've never been this far off. Even though I understand that everybody else is more experienced than I am, but so coming round here is quite difficult. I found getting the right approach through Gooseneck just here very tricky. I'm probably not far enough over onto the right before I turn left into that sort of cambered corner, and that's Mansfield. That one was okay. Actually, I started to get to grips with that one, and then we come to the infamous mountain, which I didn't find terribly difficult, and when I checked my times against other people through this section, I seemed to do it okay. I mean, I was slower than some of my teammates, but not that much slower. The Hall Bends, I found I felt as though I was right on the edge going around there, but people are going around there faster. This hairpin is really tricky because you can get a kick of oversteer, which we'll see later, and also the curb on the inside edge is really vicious, and I jumped it in practice, and my car came down with a heck of a thump afterwards. So that was qualifying, and as you can see, I did a 1:57, whatever it was, 9.4. It got us, well, according to the timing sheets, I was second last on the grid, but when I lined up, as we'll see in a second, I seemed to have two cars behind me. We're just coming round. We've done this is just coming up for the start. We've been round the formation lap, so at this point the safety car's pulled off. We're now racing. Foxy immediately cuts across in front of me, through which I should have seen it coming. I mean, it's terrible, but you can see two cars have got me there straight away, and now I'm running at the back of the pack, and I really need to sort out my starts. I seem to be just caught napping every time. Okay, so let's move on to what turned out to be quite an eventful lap. You can see Johnny Webster, you can probably catch him just there on the right. He's come off at Mansfield, so I've snuck past him. And then the reason I'm showing this is because for the next several laps, Johnny and I had a really good battle, and it was great fun. He was difficult to keep behind, but I was okay for a while. So here we're going okay. Everything looks all right. Eventually I decide I've got to gap Johnny. I need a bit of breathing space, mainly because I felt I was losing time by battling with him, and I wanted to try and catch the people in front. So in my naive thought process, I thought, yeah, I'll just try and drive harder, You can see I've now got, I was doing I just snuck in under 1:58 during qualifying. I'm now down to 1:55.49 on the previous lap, so the times are coming down. I was slow to get going though, but this is the problem with the lap. So I had a big kick of oversteer as I came out of the hairpin. Now I could have, if I'd have been pretty aggressive, I could have slammed across in front of Johnny, but He probably would have hit me. We would have damaged both cars. There was no point. So I gave him the space. I possibly gave him a bit too much latitude and perhaps should have raced him along the start-finish straight if I could have. But I didn't do that. And so this lap we're following, you can see I'm still following Johnny. And I'd got closer to him and then fallen back, and I'd tried various lines around a number of the corners. But this, he dragged me round to do my fastest lap. So here I decided in practice and in qualifying I was using third gear around this corner, Charlie's 2, and I didn't in the race, I just used fourth. And that seemed to pay off for me. Looking at my lap times, we'll do a comparison of my lap times later, but looking at my lap times compared to one of my colleagues, one of my teammates who's faster than me, I seem to do alright round Charlie's 2. So I'm catching him a bit. Yeah, you can see I'm really, I don't really understand the proper line round the gooseneck. He nearly ran too wide again there. I was okay at Mansfield eventually. I never had any squeaky moments. So you can see, I mean, there's going to be a bit of a concertina effect as we slow for mounting. And round all bends. I think you can probably just detect the rotation in the car as you're coming around each bend. This one, you've got to try and get this right and come out of it as fast as you possibly can, because of the long haul down the straights. So you can see I did a 1:54.80 on the previous lap, and there's a 1:54.27. So following Johnny like that gave me another half second off, which was good. And that was my fastest lap of the race. So as I said to you earlier, the fastest lap for the winner, or maybe it wasn't the winner actually, was a 1:49 something. That was Sam Carrington Yates, I think, did that. Yeah. So I'm not quite, I'm catching him in parts and then he's getting away from me again. It's a bit of cat and mouse, but sadly this all came to an end as we're coming out of here. The reason I wanted to show you this piece was because we come round here, and if you just watch the exit from the pits on the right, here comes Louis Woodward. Now he's faster than both of us. I could have tried to go past him, but quite honestly he probably would have passed me later on. So I thought I'll just try and follow him and try and follow his line, but he's he's really fast. Okay, so now we move on to the incident with the tyre. So everything's going okay down here, and you know, nothing untoward, and then I hit the brakes and suddenly what had happened after they changed the tyre in the pits, it turns out that somebody had had an accident on Hall Bends, and some of the debris had come out onto the track, and it seems as though I must have run across something sharp, and it had partially punctured the tyre, and I just think the stress of braking hard and then turning into park was just too much, and the tyre let go. So then I'm in limp mode now, trying to, I realised straight away as I drove back onto the track that I had a puncture. So I'm trying to take it easy. Now at some point here, the safety car board came out, and I didn't notice it. I'm just looking at the marshal post as we come along here. Don't see it yet. Oh yeah, I think it was there, wasn't it? Let's see as we come over mountain. Now this is a problem. I was doing no speed at all, and I just could not even get it to limp up mountain. I put my foot on the accelerator, I think, thinking I'd have to accelerate up the hill a bit. I don't think I definitely hadn't noticed the safety car board out at this stage. I would have noticed it, yeah, so there. He's waving yellow. I can't see the board. I tried to go up the hill, up the grass, that didn't work. And then at this point I did realise the safety car was out, and so I felt fairly safe to drive back onto the track. I had to let a couple of cars go past, but yeah, get back out onto the track. And so I carried on and limped back to the pits. So the mechanics did a great job. I think I was in the pits for just a bit over a minute. Now that, considering the safety car was out, that all could have played into my hands, except for then I made this really stupid mistake. So I came down the pit lane, I looked in the mirror and I could see the safety car just coming down the straight. What I should have done is pulled out in front of it and gone hell for leather to catch the back of the train. Instead, what I did was I waited for all the cars to go past, which lost me a lap. That was just so stupid. Why did I do that? That's just one to chalk up to just plain stupidity. I mean, you've only got to watch Formula 1 to know people try and get out in front of the safety car as quickly as they can. So, yeah, shame that, because that definitely cost a lap. So by this time, whereas I was on the same lap as the leader, and we were maintaining a fairly good pace, albeit slower than everybody else, but or slower than a lot of people. It did mean now I was 3 laps down, what with limping around the track and then being in the pits and then doing what I just did. So that was a pretty eventful race. Let's compare my fastest lap in the race with the fastest lap of Sam, one of the drivers in my team. He's really good. He's been racing Peugeots for I think a couple of years, maybe 3, and he was the fastest driver out of the whole team of 3 cars. So you can see, coming down the start finish straight, we're fairly even. I mean, there's nip and tuck, you know, here and there. But then we get to this is, as you can see down here on the map, this is Coppice, the left-hander. Actually, there's not much difference there. You can see we don't lose any time, so that looks okay. I mean, it's slightly different, but you know, slightly different variations in the speeds and whatnot, but all looks good until we get to here. Now this is Charlie's 1, and I'm lifting. You have to lift a bit because you've got to get the nose of the car back across to the apex of the track, because as you come round Coppice, the car swings out to the right hand side and you've got to get back to the left and then turn in, and to get the nose to turn in you need to lift a bit. You can see Sam lifts a tiny bit, but I'm lifting too much, and so I get this big decrease in speed, and you can see we're already now, I'm 1/10 down if you look over here on the right, and then okay, we're getting back to about the same speed coming up to Charlie's 2, and going around Charlie's 2, quite honestly, there's not much in it. He seems to get a bit more speed to start with coming out of Charlie's 2, so he's the red plot and I'm the blue plot, but it's fairly even from that point. But at this point I'm, you know, just really Charlie's 1 and maybe a bit of Charlie's 2. I think it's Charlie's 1 really. I've lost. I'm now more than 4/10 down. So big loss there in that first piece. Then we come down here. I have no idea why we get that fluctuation there. He gets a bigger fluctuation than I get. All I know is that at that point you're coming up the hill. Now maybe in his case, I haven't compared his video, so maybe at this point he has someone alongside him or he's passing someone. I didn't on my lap, but maybe that's what happens there. Anyway, this second part of the lap I'm doing better than him along here. So you can see there's a slight improvement in time, and now I've made up, what, 0.7 of a tenth, not quite a tenth. Then we come into park, which is where I had the big spin. All fairly even, but look at the apex speed difference, 9 kilometers an hour difference. He's 9 kilometers an hour faster around the apex than I am. His apex is slightly later by the looks of things. I guess I could have thrown it in harder, I guess. It's really easy to run wide, understeer wide and off the edge. But anyway, okay, so now I'm now down back to my half second down. But as you can see, going round the first part of Chris's curve, I've gained a bit. And so now at this point here, I'm just over 0.3 down. Then we come to gooseneck. I just could not get this right. I kept trying all sorts of things, and Sam had given me a couple of tips which had made me much faster through gooseneck. But you can see that the second part of gooseneck, going into the the left-hander, I'm much slower. Look at the speed difference, 6 kph. So again, I'm losing time there. Coming down the hill, I'm slightly faster, so I'm gaining a bit on him. But then we get to Mansfield, I'm obviously braking much harder. I tell you, I felt as though I could not brake less and get round that corner. So I've got some sort of problem with the line I'm taking around the corner. Anyway, I've lost time there. Then we're fairly even all the way through to here. And then where are we now? Right-hander at mountain. So left-hander at mountain, I'm okay. Right-hander at mountain, not so good. I've come out of there slower, and now I'm losing time. Then through the Hall Bends, I'm losing time on him. This bit here, I have a feeling, I mean, you can see I've lost a lot of speed there. I don't think I actually lifted. I think the car went slightly sideways and I scrubbed off a lot of speed. So I've lost a heck of a lot. And so by this point, I'm 2 seconds down. I mean, you know, in that bit there from, where is that? That's from the right-hander at mountain through to the hairpin. I've lost, you know, I've gone from 1 second, I've lost a second just in that piece there, basically. And then the rest, not so bad, just about the same really. I'm a bit slower coming out of Barn, but not such a big difference. So big improvement from my, I haven't shown you my practice one, but it looks dreadful. I compared it to the same plot for Sam, and I'm slower at every point on the circuit in the practice, in my fastest practice lap. So big improvement on my practice, but you know, there's more time to be had there. So I think I've done enough of that. I hope that didn't overwhelm you too much with too much data. But look forward to my next meeting, which is at Snetterton.